Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. See, this limits me. Can I do that? Sorry. Just for a moment. Mustn't mess it up. Right, my name is Max Moyo, of the Moyo clan, of the Rosy Kingdom. We are the original custodians of what you now know as the Great Zimbabwe Ruins. I've often said that if the Moyo clan were to come back together again, we would be the largest monarch in Southern Africa. For it is the Moyos that are spread across Zimbabwe, the Lozis in Zambia, the Barotse in Botswana. These three groupings used to form what was then known as the Rosy Kingdom. And what you know as the Zimbabwe Ruins used to be a palace for our king. So you're speaking to royalty today. I am also the son of Ham, the son of Noah, the son of Methuselah, the son of Seth, the son of Adam and Eve. I know some of you want to say amen. But I introduce myself this way in all my talks. By the way, I talk for a living. I know some of you have to work. I kind of just wake up in the morning and say, where am I talking at today? But I introduce myself the way I do, firstly because I'm African. And it is African tradition that you have not earned the right to speak to people until you have formally introduced yourself. At least I thought so. So as I go around the world, I kind of brag about my Africanness. And about 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, I was in Jaipur, India. And after addressing the conference, and I sat down, one old Indian man walks up to me and says, young man, wonderful speech. Just one point. It's Indian tradition to introduce yourself before you speak. So I've learned that human beings used to introduce themselves before they speak. Now we kind of just say, hi, what's up? Secondly, I introduce myself. Who you are also determines how you spend the money you make. And we know in entrepreneurship, as soon as you get a bit of money, you go and buy that fancy car. And then after you bought the fancy car and the fancy clothes, you discover something called cash flow with a crisis on it. Right, so let's look at this because this is critical, and I think we can share as much as we can around information, what you need to do, market research, all the stuff about what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. But if you don't have what we're going to talk about now, you might as well pack up and go home. It is the who you are that matters. Let's explore this. There are 7 billion people on this planet, and yet there's not a single individual like you. Even your own siblings are not like you. If you're like me, you look at your brother and say, whose child are you? Now we're getting better now, I can jump around. I want you to pay attention. Not your own brothers, your sisters. Born from the same mother, same father, same school, same church, and yet you are completely different in the way you approach life. Have you noticed that? Because the day you were born, a unique person came into this world with a unique, number one, identity. There are no two people who are alike. Number two, a unique set of talents and gifts. There are no two people in the world with the same talents and gifts. Number three, a unique purpose. Oh, that's powerful. Because unique purpose means there is a reason why you were born. You were not born because your father and mother got together. You were born out of necessity. Now once you get those three, I call them the tripartite alliance of success. No, it's not the ANC, Communist Party, and Consulting. Identity, talents, purpose. Now I love this because, you see, the moment I do that, notice it says something, it doesn't say anything about money. It doesn't say anything about where you went to school. It doesn't say anything about color, race, gender. It's just who you are. So if you find yourself at the end of the month unable to pay your bills, you do not have financial problems. You have identity problems. Can I repeat that again? If you find yourself end of the month, I'm able to pay your bills. Your problem is not money. Your problem is identity. Because who you are determines how much money you'll ever make. And I'm going to prove it. Now, I know some of you say, Max, you don't know. You see, we come from Soweto. We are disadvantaged. Let me ask you a question. How many of you are previously disadvantaged? Do you understand? And most of you, look at me. Nice suit. I must be advantaged. How many of you are previously? Let me see hands of those who are previously disadvantaged. Don't be shy now. Lift your hands. How many times you say, people call and say, no, you must give me because I'm black, you must give me the contract, isn't it? So I see you are previously, all of you, all the black folk and the white women. It's only the white males who are previously advantaged. The white males and myself. Because I must be the only black person who's not previously disadvantaged. And I know what you're thinking, yeah, Max, you must come from one of those rich Zimbabwean families. And you went to those fancy British schools, Zimbabwe was known for its good schools, isn't it? Let me give you a bit of history. Between my father and mother, there is only 3 years of education. When I was growing up, we were poor. No, you don't understand poverty. You're poor when poor people say, shame. That's poverty. And yet I am not previously disadvantaged. No, I was born in Rhodesia. There was as much apartheid in Rhodesia as there was in South Africa. In fact, it was so bad, you're not allowed to walk on the pavement. I don't know why, it's silly, but my grandfather never went to school. He was an old school African. Taught himself how to read and write. Memorized the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation. The man could preach you into a fit. But the old Africans, they don't exist these days. Because now what I see is quite scary. Old guys, he'd work in a garden. That day my boy will probably remember this. He works in the garden, but in the morning, he wears a suit. Gets on his bicycle. Remember those days, there are these things that they clip on there? You remember that? Then they'll go to work. When he gets there, takes off his suit, wears his overall, works in the garden. When he finishes, he cleans up, puts on his suit, on his bicycle back to home. At home, he was always the king that he was. So one day, I'm 5 years old, we're in Gweru where I was born. My grandfather says, today we walk on the pavement. Now, I had seen the movie many times. I know what's going to happen if you walk on the pavement, so I hold on tight to my grandfather's hand as we walk on that pavement. And as fate would want it, I call it Murphy's Law. 5 white men are walking from the other direction. I know what's going to happen. When it was over, we were lying on the tarred road. They spat at us. Boom! Gaffer! I hear some of you going, does it hurt? Oh, sorry for you. It doesn't hurt me. Absolutely nothing. In fact, I make money out of telling the story. This is very important because it's going to set you free. You see, if I had gone to UCT, why UCT? Because most black people who are atheists went to UCT. Am I lying? Yes. No, it's interesting, these black guys go to UCT and they come back, they tell me they're an atheist. So I say, well, tell me, what is the word for atheist in Setswana? There is no word for atheist in any African language, because Africans have always believed in God. I'm making a point, because some of us get educated and become stupid. Oh yes, I'm going somewhere with this. Now, let me ask you, so you're sitting here previously disadvantaged, sorry for you. Yeah, Soweto TV must do something for us for free, because you know what apartheid did to us. He knows what I'm talking about. You all want it for free, right? Because apartheid messed you up, isn't it? Really? Let me ask you a question. You were broke during apartheid. You are broke after apartheid. Your problem has never been apartheid. Your problem is identity. Oh, I really believe that. I just come back from the Caribbean. They have the same problem. They're suffering from slavery. So I was addressing a conference of the Caribbean nations, and one of the things is around the issue of slavery. It's so big in there that, I mean, the guys have never experienced slavery, but they're suffering from it. I mean, I see a lot of young people here, you've never experienced apartheid. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But you say, you know what apartheid did to us? Where am I going with this? Let's sort of, so you all believe in God. So don't lie, you're black, you believe in God, you have no choice. So let me ask you something. Where was your God when you were previously disadvantaged? Oh, help me somebody. Oh, I'm going to set you free today. So what you are telling me is that your God was busy in Afghanistan. Because there were always problems in Afghanistan. So there he was, trying to sort out the Taliban and whatever. And then he turned around. Soweto, Dube. There you were born, and Nkosi, black like I am. And God says, oops, I'm sorry. You were born black in apartheid South Africa. I wasn't watching. I'm really sorry. If that's your God, you better give up, and I'll introduce you to mine. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere with this. So if that's not true, then it means that your God purposed that you should be born black in apartheid South Africa. Let me take you back to Rhodesia where I was born. Let's talk about this meeting. This meeting was planned 48 years ago. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere with this. This meeting was planned how many years ago? That's how old I am. So 48 years ago, the Almighty looks into the future to this date and sees you struggling as an entrepreneur, trying to make sense of your life. And he says, I need a child to go to Soweto on this very day and speak to my people. Now once he's decided that's what he needs, he now says, what kind of environment should this child be born in? Oh, you're not ready for this. Are you getting this? So he looks around, he sees my father and my mother, 3 years of education. He says, yeah, that's a perfect parent for this child. For the purpose, you see, your background is not a disadvantage. Your background is the necessary pressure cooker to prepare you for your purpose. So where do you come from? What's your background? What's your pain? Because out of your pain comes your success. In other words, you were born where you were born, in the family that you were born, with all the drama in that family, because that's the necessary environment to shape you for your purpose. And so if you don't discover your purpose, then your pain in life is meaningless. So you don't get into business because someone seems to be making money. You get into business because it tugs at your heart. So 5 years ago, I quit my job at Allen Gray as head of distribution to speak. My brother says to me, no, Max, speaking is a hobby, get a job. But right now, I am not working, I am manifesting the purpose that I am. It is my job to speak to you about the subject that I'm speaking to you about. Does it make sense? So let me prove this point, because after all, you said that this guy's a motivational speaker, and to motivate us. Albert Einstein. You all know Albert Einstein? Little Jewish professor. Considered to be the most intelligent person that has ever lived. Right? Wrong. Last year, I'm a guest of the $1 Million Roundtable at their conference in Philadelphia. 8,600 millionaires from 75 countries. And I'm just that boy from Rhodesia. And I stand up in this group of people that has made so much money. I'm the only one who's not a millionaire in that room. And I said to them, the only reason why Einstein is considered to be the most intelligent person that has ever lived is because I wasn't born. listen to me now. By extension, is because you were not born. Let me prove it to you. As smart as Einstein was, if he tried to compete with you in your area of natural talent, he would have come second best. Oh, stay with me then. The biggest challenge we face in life is the issue of imitation. When you imitate, you get Chinese, but that's another story. Listen to this. Imitation will always lead you to limitation. Can I repeat that again? Imitation leads to what? Let me explain this. If I tried to speak like Professor did earlier on, what would you have said? Oh, that guy, he tries to speak like the professor. Are you getting this? Because I can never beat the professor at being the professor. Are you getting the picture? But as good as Professor was, and he's brief to the point, he gets the point across, I'm sitting there, I think I wish I could speak like him, because I'm long-winded like every African is. But if I try to compete with Professor in his area of natural talent, as smart as I am, as hardworking as I am, as intelligent as I am, I will always come second best. Now, what's the fairness of life? If Professor tried to compete with me in my area of natural gifting and talent, as smart as he is, as gifted as he is, he'll come what? So what do you need to do to be number one in the world? Oh, I'm an alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Remember the song? Be yourself no matter what they say. The secret to success, my fellow entrepreneurs, is to walk into yourself. The moment you embrace who you are, you've won the first battle. Several years ago, President Thabo Mbeki stood in Parliament and said, I'm an African. Oh yes, most of you didn't get it. Because until you embrace yourself, where are my sisters at? Who's here, sir? I got a problem with a nation, with a continent that spends over $10 billion a year buying somebody else's hair. I don't like what I look. I don't like how I look. So I'm gonna buy some dead Indian's hair. No. And then we complain that there's no money to start our businesses. It's all in your head. And all you men clapping your hands, don't let me get started about what you do. Because you're going to drive a BMW, don't you? Because it says who you are, isn't it? It's just a piece of metal junk with a BMW sign on it. But when you don't know who you are, a car stops being a means of transport, it becomes an identity symbol. So what do? You get yourself in debt, buying a car you cannot afford because you don't know who you are, you're trying to buy identity. Okay, I got to close, so I'm going to try and wrap this up. So we see Einstein bringing us what? Nuclear energy, right? We think he's privileged because he went to school and he had, physics and mathematics. Not really. Einstein says in his own words, by the way, I wasn't bragging when I was saying the only reason why he was called the most intelligent person is because I wasn't born. It's true. It's also true for you. Here's what Einstein says. He says, I'm not the most intelligent person that has ever lived. Why, Einstein? He says, because if you measure a fish by his ability to climb trees, he will spend the rest of his life thinking he's dumb. The story of your life. Every time somebody said you were useless, you remember Pythagoras? You all remember Pythagoras, right? You all thought you were smart until Pythagoras walked into your classroom. And because you were not good in math or science, they said you were what? I like the Afrikaans word, doof. So they put you in class 10D. But you see, the schooling system is wrong. And I'll tell you why. In every society, there are people who never went to school who are successful business people. And they hire you guys with your MBAs from UJ to work for them. Ah, you're getting this. So let me set those of you who couldn't go to school because you come from, your parents couldn't afford to send you to school, and you think you have a disadvantage, isn't it? You can read this internet, you can get the information. But let me try and set you free. The Wright brothers. You all know the Wright brothers? What did they bring us? Yes. What grade did the Wright brothers have? Standard 8. High school. And they put together the first aeroplane. Now, why? Now, this is what's going to get interesting. During the same time, it's 1800s, nobody's ever flown before. They've never seen an aeroplane before. Two brothers can't get a date, they're bicycle mechanics. You can imagine, ladies, those of you who are single, I mean, you've been praying for a husband. And you come to a conference, 5th annual, whatever, and there he walks in, tall, dark, and what? See, I like the dark part, includes me all the time. And he says, hi. And your knees kind of buckle up. But you see now, before you go on that date, you got to ask that question. What's the question we hate when we meet new people? What do you do? He says, I fix bicycles. To which ladies you say what? Nice meeting you. Because we judge people not according to who they are, but what they do. But I'm more than what I do. Wright brothers can't get a date, so they start to think about making an aeroplane. Now this is very interesting. Across the Atlantic in the United Kingdom, the professors there have just written a paper that says it's scientifically impossible for metal to fly. And I've often said that, thank God the Wright brothers were not educated. They didn't know metal can't. So let me ask you, is it possible that the reason why you were born in an environment where there was no money to go to school is because for the purpose for which you were born, if you went to school, they would tell you that your purpose is impossible. Are you getting this? So what am I trying to say? I'm saying dig deeper into yourself first, and then determine what it is that naturally is you, and go after it. You cannot fail at your purpose. How do I know? Because when you were born, helpers were also created to help you achieve your purpose. Some of you are here because somebody just said, come to UJ. You think I'm lucky? No, it's part of it. They're supposed to help you. Their success is tied into helping you. Does it make sense? Finally, dare to walk into personal leadership. I'm trying to do in 20 minutes what I normally do in 3, so 3 hours. So let's try and wrap it up. Dare to what? Because to succeed, you must become a leader. First of who? Yourself, and then the market, isn't it? Okay, let's look at the 9 steps. I call Max Moyer's 9 steps to leadership. Professor, you can copy them as long as you tell them it's from me. Max's 9 steps to what? A lot of us think that leadership is equal to position, isn't it? That's why we fight for position, isn't it? I was addressing the cabinet of Jamaica the other day, and I said to the Prime Minister, Madam Prime Minister, you did not become Prime Minister of Jamaica because you ran a smart campaign. You became Prime Minister of Jamaica because it was purposed. You get the picture? We are all exactly where we need to be to move into what we need to do. Step number 1 into leadership is identity. What is it? Until you know who you are, you can never truly lead. So I come from a country where the leader has an identity crisis. I know you're recording, don't play it, I might not be allowed to go back. Yes, in my country, your freedom of speech is guaranteed. No, it is guaranteed. Freedom of speech is guaranteed in Zim, but freedom after speech is not guaranteed. So here's how. Every dictator has an identity crisis. In other words, for President Mugabe, his identity is in the leadership of what? Of Zim. If he loses the presidency, he loses his identity. Are you seeing this? So the first thing you know is sort out who you are. What's your identity? ID stands for irresistible difference. Oh, man, I could go south just with that. Step number two in leadership is talent. Every single one of us have a unique set of talents. Now think about it. If you engage your natural talents, nobody in the world can compete with you. Therefore, if I have something that nobody else has on planet Earth, that means I can charge top dollar for what I do. So you are broke because you don't know who you are. Talent. The other thing is that if I don't know what I'm good at, I can't hire people who are good at what I'm not good at. Because in your business, you can't be everything. You do what you're good at and you outsource what you're not good at. Are you getting the picture now? Because some of you are jack of all trades. No, it doesn't work that way. 3, purpose. There is nothing worse than a purposeless individual. You just wake up in the morning and you go on. Okay, so purpose is critical. Now your purpose, which is step number 3, your purpose will then lead you into a conviction, step number 4. All great leaders are convicted. Nelson Mandela, it is an ideal that I hope to live for, and if necessary, to die for. What are you willing to die for? People without conviction who become leaders are dangerous. Your conviction then will generate a vision, step number 5. So your vision is always a function of what conviction. I have a conviction that if I could get 7 billion people on this planet to know what their identities, their talents are, and live a life of purpose, will create heaven on earth. And so I live for that. I hope to die on stage. Number 6. Your vision then will generate a passion. Notice the way I speak. I speak with what? Not because I read it somewhere. I really believe what I'm doing. You get this? Fellow entrepreneur, if I can sit with you and I don't get that passion, you're not ready to do what you're going to do. Because sometimes the only thing that keeps you going is that passion, because there's no money. If you don't believe in what you're doing, you're going to quit and go look for a job. Passion. Now your passion leads you to step number 7, which is inspiration. Because people are inspired by your passion. Some of you have hired people and they are messing you up. You know why? Because you threaten them. If you don't do this, I'll fire you. People must follow you because you inspire them. They're inspired by your vision for your organization, for where you're going. So they want to work with you because they believe in the vision. And so they will work even when there's no money because they've bought into the vision. Inspiration. So if you call yourself a leader, what is your inspiration? Number 8. Your inspiration then will lead you into step number 8, which is influence. Until you have influence, you're not a leader. Now watch this. Once I have influence, what is influence? Influence is when you get people to give up their own to follow. How many of you are going to be pursuing purpose here? Let's see the hands. So for those of you who are going to pursue purpose as a result of this conversation, I have suddenly earned the right to lead you. I don't pay your salary, I don't determine where you go, but because I inspire you, you are influenced to follow. Do you get the picture? Only then do you go to step number 9, which is leadership. And so I wish you the best as you reach inside of yourself and discover the true you, your unique identity or ID, your unique irresistible difference. Because you see, you were born in South Africa for such a time as this. You are the game changer for South Africa. With the challenges that you are facing, you see, you were not born in the 1800s because what you have would have been useless for the 1800s. You were born in this time because there's something in you that is necessary to deal with the challenges that we face in South Africa. So rise up and be counted. The issue is it's not what we can do for you. You need to be asking the question, what can you do for South Africa? Because when you ask that question, you are able to look inside of you and say, what do I have to offer to the nation of South Africa? For you are the game changer, not just in South Africa, but in the continent, not only in the continent, but worldwide. Some of you should be doing business internationally, but you think so small, you can never rise up above where you are. Change your thinking, and you change your direction. I thank you.